Hi everybody, thank you for tuning into my video. So today we will be working on a design that's kind of just abstract. So the first step that I'll take with completing this design is using white gel polish, and I am using just a regular white gel polish that you would get from any nail supply store. The reason why I'm not using Young Nails Mission Control in white is because their gel, the Mission Control gel, does not have a sticky layer. And so in order to get the effect that I'm looking for with this design, it needs a sticky layer so that the color pigment actually sticks to the gel polish. And you'll see later on in the video that I'm kind of struggling with it initially, but I do figure another way out so that the pigment transfer is darker than the first time I did it on her right hand, so this hand. But yeah, so what I'm doing is just kind of going to each nail, kind of just drawing squiggly lines wherever I feel is necessary. And yes, and I'm also filling in with a liner brush. But let me tell you something, please don't do what I do, because that took kind of forever to do it that way. Use a bigger brush when you're filling in the spots because it just goes so much faster. I don't even know what I was thinking, but yes, for I guess for control, that's what I was doing that for, but you do not have to do that. And I do repeat this step for each finger on both hands. So yeah, it becomes a little repetitive. So I don't even know if I keep in the left hand when I'm drawing the lines, but you may or may not see it. But just know that it's pretty much whatever my hand feels like doing at that time. So don't think too hard during this step of it because it's not supposed to be perfect. I mean, yeah, the line work is, but the way that you draw it is not supposed to be. So just kind of freehand it and just go with however you're feeling at that time. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but my finger that is on top of her finger is a way that I balance when I am trying to at least get a pretty crisp line. My line work is still in the works of becoming better, but just know a way to balance your hand so that you're not nervous or shaking is just to either place it on your thumb. I think some people do. I can't really do that even with nails, or just place it on top of their finger so that you can balance. That is a tip, so just try it and get a feel for whatever works best for you. Okay, so now this is where I come into some trial and error with this set, y'all. I was highly upset when I realized that the stickiness from the gel polish was not enough. And so you'll see me go through the entire hand in hopes that it would get darker, even with me reapplying some of the pigment on top after the second time, but it just was not cutting it for me. And especially with how the design was in the picture, because it was a picture that my client showed me and said she wanted. So I did go through the entire hand and I just wasn't feeling it. So you'll see me do that, and then I then figure out that, okay, maybe transfer gel will work. So I take my NotPolish transfer gel and I go over top of the white blotches, even with the pigment on, and it actually does help, and you'll see that later on in the video, but I'm just giving you a heads up of what was going on here. It was a mess and I was really over it, but I eventually got it together. And it was kind of like false hope with some of these colors, because I know the yellow, the bright yellow, and that green actually transferred pretty well, but when it came down to the blue, and then when I go to the next hand, the orange, it was just not enough. So yeah, that's why I am going back in eventually through this video with transfer gel, because I mean, it looks kind of bright in some areas, but not consistently through, and that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be consistent throughout the entire set, not just on a few fingers, because that would look terrible, and I cannot leave my client walking around with some raggedy pigment on their nails. I'm sorry. So yes, like, just look at me trying to force the pigment on there. Like, sis, it's not working. Give it up, give it up, give it up. So now that I figured out the right hand didn't transfer well, I am now going in with my NotPolish transfer gel, like I stated earlier. And yes, I kind of already tried it on the other hand. So, well, I applied it. I'm sorry. I did not try it yet, because when she pulls her hand out the dryer, it's still pretty light. So that was just me applying the transfer gel and letting it dry, because you know, transfer gel, you do cure it for like 30 seconds and then you transfer either your foils or your pigments onto the nail. But yes, right now I am just applying the transfer gel, and I'm gonna let her put that hand into the dryer so that we can hopefully have better results, because like I said, we don't have time for raggedy pigment on the nails. I'm sorry. All right, so now here's my second go around with this transfer gel, y'all. Well, with the transfer gel this time. And immediately I'm seeing brighter effects by the pigment with the transfer gel, so I'm super excited about that. Pigment is very messy, by the way. If you can't tell, I've only used like the blue, the green, and the yellow at this point, and it's all over the place, all over my hands. Like I said, it was a very tedious set, but it was very cute with the outcome of it. But it got everywhere, and I mean everywhere. But yes, as you can see, the green is popping now, the blues eventually will be popping. But yes, if you're gonna do something like this, please apply a transfer gel, so you can save time of like going back to fix what was wrong in the first place. Because as you can see, look at that blue. Boom, boom. Okay, boom. All right, period. So yes, so we eventually got it together. And the next thing that I want to do, if I do this set again on anybody, I want to try and figure out a better way of avoiding the cuticles, and I might even practice this type of set with gel polish and see how it gets me. And I'm pretty sure I'll do fine, because the pigment was just a bit much for me. Look at me dusting it off. But yeah, So it turned out a lot better, and now I'm moving on to the left hand. The orange was still a tad bit light, so you'll see me go back in after I'm done with this hand to go back over the orange, because it is very, very light for some reason, even with the transfer gel. So yes. And by the way, I did cut out in this video of me asking my client to put her hand back in the dryer after I put the pigment on, because I didn't want to dust it and then all the pigment just blend together, because that would defeat the entire purpose of this set. But yes, I do ask my client each time that I would put the pigment on to put her hand back into the light, just to be on the safe side. So yes, now I'm going in with the pink. The pink has no trouble transferring at all, and I believe the other color on this hand was the yellow, and of course the yellow did pretty well even without the transfer gel. But yes, I did just go ahead and put transfer gel on all of the white blotches. So I am dusting off now. I did apply the second layer of orange on there. As you can see, I'm just doing simple touch-ups. All right, y'all, we're almost done. So now here I'm going in with Young Nails Mission Control Black. I truly do not know the real name for their black. You know, every company goes crazy with the names and everything, but it's black. Okay, so I'm going in with the black gel polish from Young Nails, and really I'm just outlining the blocks of color on the nail. I'm not really going on the outside of the nail, because that's not how the picture was, like stated earlier. If my clients bring me a picture and they kind of want exactly what that picture looks like, I try not to do my own thing, honestly, because I mean, if they're looking for that particular look, then I'm going to stick with that. So yes, I'm just staying on the actual bed of the nail when it comes down to outlining. And as you can see, you can kind of see me balancing my finger on my hand that's drawing on the other tips of my nails on the other hand, so I can have some balance. Regardless of how you balance yourself, it's whatever works best for you, but that's again what works best for me. And this part is really not that bad once you get in the swing of it. And I was thinking that maybe the pigment was going to transfer onto my liner brush and I would be dragging pigment all over the place, but it was not the case at all. It went pretty smoothly. Once I just got past this finger, I started to get a little bit more comfortable with outlining it. I don't know about any other nail techs, but outlining still scares me. So yes, I was scared, all right, but we got through it. And another thing with outlining for this set, with having the first layer of gel polish, which was the white, and then having the pigment, and then on top of that the transfer gel, it was kind of thick, but once the matte top coat was put on there at the end of the video, it kind of smoothed everything out. But while I was outlining, it was kind of difficult for me to get all in the creases. It doesn't really look like that in the video, but when I was actually outlining, I had to just make sure to fill in all the creases. So if you are going to do this design, just make sure that you are filling in the creases and you're kind of just going on top of what's underneath so that it doesn't look like you missed spots, because if you don't, it will exactly look like you've missed spots. And if somebody tilts their hand to the left or to the right or up to show somebody, it's going to be pretty obvious. So just make sure that you do fill in all the creases, and once you put the top coat on, any finished top coat that you put or choose to do, that you are kind of smoothing all of the nail art down as well, so that it doesn't chip prematurely. I don't know about any other nail tags or any just people that like to get their nails done, but this is one of my favorite parts of doing a set. It's just to do some nail art and like just watch it come to life step by step. That's the most interesting and exciting part of me doing nails. Like, I was kind of nervous throughout the set, I'm not gonna lie to you. So when I eventually saw the outlining of the pigment splotches, it just made me really happy to know that, you know, it actually looks pretty good. And again, please don't mind the cuticles. By the time I'm finished and I put the top coat on, I'm very careful with the top coat for the most part, to not, of course, get it flooding the cuticles, so that she can just use a brush and get all in the creases, okay, to get all of that pigment off of her skin.